You grab your phone, no bars, no signal, just those three haunting letters, SOS. In a heartbeat, the invisible web that connects your entire life just vanishes. But behind that silent screen, an enormous, frantic operation kicks into gear. Tonight, we pull back the curtain on what really happens when our digital world goes dark.
You know the feeling. You grab your phone to make a call, you want to send a text, look up a map, and nothing. Just no bars. Maybe you see a couple of letters that make your stomach drop. We've all been there, right? But what's actually happening behind the scenes when our entire digital world just blinks out of existence? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and dissect what really happens when a network goes down. From that first little warning sign on your screen to the massive, complex recovery operation happening in the background. Let's get into it.
So where does a huge outage like this even start? Well, it's not in some far-off data center. Nope. It usually starts with a simple and super frustrating message right in the palm of your hand.
Ah, yes, the dreaded SOS or emergency calls only message. It's kind of become this universal symbol that, yep, you are officially off the grid, whether you like it or not. It's confusing, it's definitely frustrating, and for thousands and thousands of people on October 9th, it was their reality.
And look, it wasn't just a symbol on a screen. For customers like Julie Spears, it meant real-world problems. Calls just dropping out of nowhere, trying to call back and getting nothing. It's that exact moment you realize, wow, I really rely on this invisible connection for everything.
So let's use that October 9th outage as a perfect case study. It all started pretty quietly, just after 12:40 a.m. Eastern Time. A few user reports started trickling in online, but things escalated fast. By 12:56 a.m., that's just 15 minutes later, Down Detector saw this huge spike in complaints. We're talking over 1,200 at its peak. And that's when everyone knew, okay, this is a big, widespread problem. It wasn't until around 3 in the morning that service started to come back for most people. And even then, some issues stuck around for a while.
So what the heck is SOS mode anyway? It's not a total blackout. It's actually a pretty critical safety feature. When you see this, it means your phone can't find your specific provider, let's say Verizon. But, and this is the important part, federal law says your phone has to be allowed to piggyback on any other network it can find, whether that's T-Mobile or AT&T, for one reason and one reason only, to make emergency calls. It's like a built-in lifeline for when your main connection just vanishes.
Which brings us to the million-dollar question. How do these massive, super sophisticated networks just fail? Well, the reasons are often surprisingly, and I mean surprisingly, low-tech. Okay, so what do you think is the #1 cause of big fiber optic outages? Maybe some kind of crazy cyber attack, solar flares? The reality is way more mundane. A whopping 60% of major outages are caused by simple human error, and most of that happens during construction. In this picture, this just says it all. For all of our incredible advanced technology, the single biggest threat to our digital backbone is often just a shovel or a backhoe that digs in the wrong spot. Construction crews accidentally severing these buried cables account for the vast majority of physical network cuts every single year. It's kind of wild when you think about it. And it's not just accidents. Another huge physical threat is just straight-up theft. Cell sites, especially the ones in really remote areas, are basically treasure troves of valuable metals. Thieves go after copper wiring, grounding bars, even these huge heavy-duty batteries. And when they do that, they cause massive damage that can knock out service for thousands of people. This map here just shows you how widespread this problem of metal theft really is.
And believe me, the list of threats just goes on and on. Big power grid failures can take down cell towers that depend on them. You've got vandalism, natural disasters like fires and floods, and get this, even animals. Rats have been known to chew right through vital fiber optic cables. And of course, on top of all that, you have the ever-present threat of cyber attacks. Okay, so when disaster strikes, how do they put all the pieces back together? Well, there's a highly detailed, very specific playbook for moving from total chaos back to recovery. Let's take a look behind the curtain.
Whoa. Okay, so this chart looks complicated because, well, crisis management is complicated. This is a real peek at an internal command structure. The moment an outage hits, a very clear chain of command just clicks into place. You've got your executive teams way up at the top making the big strategic decisions, which then flow down to crisis management teams, and then all the way down to the on-the-ground emergency operations centers that are actually dispatching the repair crews. It's basically a military-style operation designed to restore order from chaos.
And this is absolutely crucial to understand. During a recovery, not all connections are created equal. There's a very strict pecking order. So who gets service back first? As you can see, right at the top, it's the company's own emergency communications. Then comes public safety, police, fire departments, and then hospitals. Regular folks like you and me, even customers with special needs, are actually further down that list. Service gets restored based on this hierarchy of critical needs, not first come, first served.
This whole complex process can really be boiled down into 4 key phases. First, you've got mitigation. That's trying to stop failures before they even happen. Then comes preparedness. That means planning, training, running drills. Response is the all-hands-on-deck phase when the outage is actually happening. And finally, you have recovery, which is that long, slow process of getting everything back to 100%.
So all of this really points to a fundamental misunderstanding most of us have about how our internet and our phone networks actually work.
We talk about the cloud like our data just lives up in the sky somewhere, but it doesn't. The network is a sprawling, physical, very real thing. It's made of remote cell towers sitting on mountains, concrete bunkers full of equipment, and literally millions of miles of fiber optic cable running underground and under the ocean. All of it is tangible, and all of it is vulnerable.
So, to protect all this physical stuff, companies rely on some incredibly sophisticated digital defenses. What you're looking at here is a network performance dashboard. Teams are watching systems just like this 24/7, monitoring the health of the network, looking for any little dip in performance, and trying to spot threats in real time before they can cause a massive outage. Okay, so what does all of this mean for you? When the network, and it will, inevitably fails again, what can you actually do about it?
Here is your personal action plan. First up, the classic, turn it off and on again. Seriously, just restarting your device often works. Next, try toggling airplane mode on for about a minute, then turn it off. That can force your phone to find a new, fresh connection. Also, check your carrier's official website for their network status before you jump on social media. And here is a huge pro tip. Go into your phone settings right now and enable Wi-Fi calling. That way, if your cell service ever dies but your Wi-Fi is still working, you can still make and receive calls like normal. It's a simple little step that can be a total lifesaver.
So we've seen just how fragile these connections can be. They're vulnerable to everything from a construction worker's shovel to a tiny software bug. So the final question really is this. In a world that absolutely 100% runs on these invisible networks, how prepared are you for the next time they disappear?
For all our high-tech sophistication, it takes just one wrong move, one cut cable, one glitch to pull the plug on our connected world. The question isn't if it'll happen again. It's whether we'll be ready when it does. So we've seen just how fragile these connections can be, vulnerable to everything from a construction worker's shovel to a tiny software bug. They aren't magic, they're a sprawling, physical, and very real thing. So the final question really is this. In a world that absolutely 100% runs on these invisible networks, how prepared are you for the next time they disappear?